Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. I am so glad to see you all in our audience, joining us from near and from far. I see Michael joining us from Ontario, Canada, and Karen says she's joining us from Atlanta. Let's see, we have Bev from Northern California. We have users from all over the world. Karen from Oregon. Let's see. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us. We're so glad to see you all here with us today. We have a very, very exciting session that we're really looking forward to. It's going to be fascinating and just full of so many great stories. So we're really excited. Before I introduce our session that we have today, I just want to let you know about a sale that we have going on here at MyHeritage. We have a DNA sale, the hot DNA sale in honor of summer. I know that in some parts of the world it's not exactly summer, but you can still take advantage of this amazing deal on MyHeritage DNA tests. So we'll put a link in the comment section and you can all check out this fantastic deal on MyHeritage DNA. And we hope that you'll take advantage of this sale. So for today, we have with us a very, very exciting guest. We have Papa Jake and his granddaughter, Michaela, and I'll let you know a little bit about them. They actually have multiple channels. They have a TikTok channel, Instagram channel, YouTube channel, and they post remarkable videos about Papa Jake's World War II experiences, as well as general family history, and they are just so lovely. And before I introduce them onto the screen, I'm just going to show a video of theirs that caught our eye, and I'll explain. Basically, at MyHeritage, we came out with a feature a few months ago called Deep Nostalgia, and this feature allows you to animate old photos and have your ancestors, family members, have them move a little and come to life, and it's really quite remarkable. And Papa Jake and Michaela animated a photo of Papa Jake's wife, and here I'll just let you guys see the video for yourselves and how lovely it is. So here, let me just bring it to the screen.
Oh my God, holy smokes. She's alive.
Yeah, it brings the picture to life.
Look at that smile. Oh God.
That's your Lola. Isn't it amazing that technology?
I can't believe it. Oh.
Oh.
It's her.
Yeah, it's like she's here.
This past November 23rd, we would have been married 75 years. And I still love her.
I love her too.
That is the video of Papa Jake viewing his wife animated using Deep Nostalgia. Really fantastic reaction over there. So before I bring Michaela and Papa Jake to the screen, I'm just going to tell you all about a giveaway that we have today. We'll be giving away a MyHeritage Complete plan. That's the best plan we have to offer at MyHeritage. And that plan includes access to 14 billion historical records, to all of our photo tools. So Deep Nostalgia, that photo tool that they use to animate that lovely photo, you'll get that for free, as well as advanced DNA features, unlimited family trees. So an amazing gift that we'll be giving away to one viewer today. And if you can just leave us a comment or a question in the comment section, and you'll be entered in today's draw. And we'll be giving that away at the end of today's session. So really looking forward to gifting that to one lucky winner today. And now let's bring Michaela and Papa Jake onto the screen. Let's bring them in to say hello to everybody. Hello. Oh, one moment. Let me. I think there's something wrong with the sound. I don't really hear it correctly. Let's see if we can fix that, folks. We're just having a technical difficulty just with the sound here.
Let me try this.
Oh, okay. Well, I think they're going to join again. Let's see if we can get them up again. Hi, I think the sound is still not working. I don't know if you have a different set of maybe of earphones that you could use. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
How's that?
Oh, that's better.
All right.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
We love it.
So why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Papa Jake. My name is Jake Larson. I'm born and raised in Minnesota, a little country boy, raised in the Depression, and we had nothing. We had nothing but ourselves. And I thought the world was that way. And this is my granddaughter, Michaela Larson. She's my savior here. I'm an old stoop when it comes to all this stuff here. I used to fix radio and TV, but this is beyond my fixing.
You're so lucky to have her. She's amazing.
She's a sweetheart.
And she's lucky to have you.
Yeah, he raised me growing up. We lived in the same house ever since I was little. So whenever I was in trouble, I'd run over to Papa Jake's house and get away from it, from mom and dad. And yeah, he raised me from a pup is what he likes to say.
Amazing. So I know that you guys have lots and lots of stories that you're going to share with us today. Did you want to bring up the presentation?
Yes, we will do that now. All right.
Okay, there we go. You can take it away.
All right. So you want to start out with your first story of how you joined the National Guard?
Isn't that the picture of the runway? And
yeah, you can go ahead and explain that picture if you like.
Yeah, that when I told you it was Depression and we had nothing. My dad bought that Hopmobile car. I think he paid $5 for it at the time. $5 in that Rumley oil pulled tractor. We had no other tractor on the premises. That Rumley oil pulled tractor was bought to pull the roots out of the oak trees, the stumps from the oak trees for clearing more land. And I'm standing right by the back wheel. I'm 8 years old at that time. And it was my job to put the log chain around those stumps so they could pull out those things with the tractor. I wasn't allowed to ride the tractor. I couldn't have drove it anyway. 8 years old. And that's our granary in the back, and we would usually fill that with corn, wheat, oats, barley.
Nice.
So
Go ahead to the next one.
yes.
Look at that handsome
Oh,
fellow.
no, that's my graduation picture. 17 years old, graduating from high school. And I graduated from high school at 17, and in December, I turned 18. That was 1940. And let's go right on by that till February 10th. Our National Guard unit that I joined when I was 15, 1938, was put into federal service. We took the place of a regular army who had only 125,000 in the United States. Now, all this time, the war was going on in Europe. Hitler controlled all of Europe except the British Isles. They were a fortress in the middle, and they gave us a landing place to store our material for D-Day. God, this story goes on. So I've got a book that I wrote these stories on, and this is a pre-copy of it.
I'm going to show it a little bit closer. Yeah. But yeah, it's a free copy, so we haven't put it
Michaela,
Yes.
sorry, do you want to try reconnecting and see if the sound fixes?
Okay, sure.
Let's just try that, because it's there's a little bit of static, and it's a shame to not hear Papa Jake's stories. So let's see if we can get it working a little bit clearer.
Let's try with...
Oh, okay. I think they'll be back on in a moment. Let's see when they come back on. In the meantime, for those of you that are new to our Facebook Lives, just to let you know that you can rewatch any of our Facebook Lives that have gone up in the past on the MyHeritage Facebook page under the videos section. So you just have to access them all from there. In addition, just to remind you all of the giveaway that we have today. We'll be giving away a MyHeritage Complete Plan at the end of today's session, and that's to one lucky winner who leaves a comment or a question in the comments section. So we're just trying to work out these sound issues, and hopefully we'll get it working a little bit clearer. Let's see. I see we have Michaela and Papa Jake here. Hi, how's that?
There. That's perfect.
Oh, that's great. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So let's try that again. Would you mind just, oh, there, perfect. Okay, I see you shared your screen. Let me get that up for you.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
I'll get out of your way and you can continue.
And where was I?
Joining the National Guard at 15.
Oh, well, now we were talking about me graduating. Well, February 10th, 1941, our National Guard unit in Minnesota, the 34th Infantry Division, was put into federal service along with 27 other National Guard divisions all over the United States. We went down to Louisiana, and we went through the Louisiana maneuvers. And I'm a Minnesota boy. I didn't know about chiggers and ticks and poisonous snakes and different things. But
How did you sign up for National Guard?
how did I sign up?
Yeah, what happened?
Oh, that's a kind of an interesting story. I was working my way through high school by helping cook for 8 room and boarders to a woman that she was a widow, and she ran this boarding place for room and board, have people come in there, come home even for dinner. One of the women that lived there had a beauty salon, and she wouldn't even eat it at the salon or near it. She'd come home and eat dinner there. Well, anyway, my dad couldn't afford to pay for room and board, and it was so pathetic when I tell you what they charged at that time. You would never believe it. But for 2 months, I stayed with Archie Bailey and Emma Bailey, and I didn't know what kind of a barter system my dad had made out. But it come to December, he says, I can't afford to pay your room and board anymore. He says, it's too much. I don't have the money. So you're going to have to quit high school. So already I'd made some friends, and Bob Myers was one of them. When I told him I had to quit, he says, you come home with me. He says, my mother runs a room and boarding house, and she's looking for somebody to help her. So I went and met her, and it was like a second mother to me. So instead of my dad paying for my room and board, I worked it out. I couldn't take any athletic courses or anything. I had to rush home, always rush home in the middle of the day and serve dinner. And then it was a mile back to school, and by that time I get there, you're exhausted. Yeah, but I made it. And my second year in high school, they said I had an elective. I didn't even know what an elective was. And I said, "What is an elective?" Well, she says, you got room for another subject, and they started naming them off. And I said, "Wait a minute, you mean you teach typing here?" Yeah, they have a typing class. So I took the typing class. I was the one boy in the class of about 29 girls, but I had a year of typing under me when I got done with that. And I could type 50 words a minute. I never thinking this was going to help me in later life. So now up to the time when I graduated high school and our National Guard was put into federal service, I moved with the National Guard down to Louisiana. Now, after the Louisiana maneuvers were over in June, Amos Graham and I got a pass on a Saturday night to go into Alexandria. The Army trucks were hauling us in there, 18 miles from camp. And Amos says, what are you going to do when you get there? I says, I'm going to have a milkshake. After those Louisiana maneuvers, man, they were exhausting. So got this milkshake, and I started drinking that, and I said, "Man, Amos, I'm getting sick." He says, "A milkshake shouldn't make you sick." Well, it did. I had to vomit, and I said, "Oh man, I'm going back to the trucks and see if anybody's going back to camp. I'm going to go to bed." Well, that worked out good. And I got back to camp, went to bed, and fell asleep. But 5 o'clock in the morning, Joe Skwasniska, the a corporal of the guard there, woke me up and said, "Jake, you're on KP. That's Kitchen Police. KP this in the morning." He says, I says, "Joe, I've been sick all night. Hey, don't give me that BS." He says, "You get your fatigues on, get up to the kitchen, report for duty." So I put on my fatigues, went up to the kitchen. Max Montai was the mess sergeant, and he says, "Hey, Jake," he says, "you don't look well." So I told him that I had an upset stomach and was vomiting, and He says, "Did you go into Alexandria last night?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "What'd you have to drink?" I said, "Just a milkshake, and it did me in. Nothing else." He says, "Nothing else." So no, nothing else. He says, "You go back down to the last table there and lay on the seat section. We don't use that table. And when 8 o'clock comes around, you report for sick call." Sick call was just across the street from me. So I reported over there at 8 o'clock. 10 o'clock, they got around to checking me, and they were pushing in on my right side and pushing in. And they said, "How does that feel?" And I said, "God, that's a relief." And they let loose like that there. I doggone near jumped off that table. I had appendicitis. So they called an ambulance. The hospital 5 blocks away. It took till noon to get the ambulance up there. By the time I got to the hospital, my appendix had broke. Spent 10 days in there, and by the time I got out of that bed, I had to have people help me stand up. Then I got sick leave pass, sick leave time. I went back to Minnesota, and my mother took care of the drainage problems on that thing, and she did quite a job. I don't even remember how long it was, but all of a sudden, I went back down to Camp Claiborne, and somebody had been looking through my files, and they found out that I could type. The next thing I knew, I was transferred to a headquarters company, 135th Infantry, as the company clerk, and I became a corporal. And mind you, this is all new to me, but I was a good typist, and it didn't take me long. I got acquainted with the stuff, and one day Captain Erickson, our commanding officer, said he wants the tables of organization (TOs) for our headquarters company. I didn't even know what they were at the time, and but I found out, and I got the TO for him. And after he looked at it, I looked at it myself. It shows every position, whatever you have, even food and rifles, and shoes, even for our unit. And I looked at it. It even shows the positions, what positions each one has. So I looked up the company clerk. In the tables of organization, it shows that I should be a sergeant with a corporal helper. I'm a corporal with no helper. Well, that's a strike against my captain. Then Pearl Harbor happened, and the commanding officer there, who had his office right up in the same room as all the clerk typists had, came out and says, all you company clerks," he says, "have attention. I want you to go back and tell your commanding officer that I'm authorizing 15-day furloughs to all those who haven't had a furlough in the past year." We were in Louisiana, and we were all from Minnesota. That's 1,000 miles different. This was the middle of winter in Minnesota and the mid-states. And when I told that to Captain Erickson, he says, Corporal, you go back up there, check all those records, and see who hasn't had a furlough in the past year. You make them out for 7 days. 7 days, sir. I says, 7 days? It's going to take them 3 days to get back. This was before freeways and everything. I mean, you drove through every little town along the way, and there was no such a thing as a freeway. And I said, it's going to take them 3 days to get there. They'll just have to get there and turn around and come back. He says, Corporal, I'm the commanding officer of this unit. You do as you're told. I said, yes, sir. So Corporal Larson went up to headquarters and looked through the records, and he found 55 guys that hadn't had a furlough in the past year. And Corporal Larson was one of those guys. I had a sick leave, but that doesn't count for furlough. Well, each individual had a complete sheet all to himself, and that sheet, that furlough sheet, had to be signed personally by Captain Erickson. Well, somehow my typewriter kind of missed a stroke or added a stroke or something, but instead of typing 7 days in there, it typed 15 days in there. It changed my life. So I rode up to Minnesota with my two first cousins, Ole and Chick, and when we got up there, my uncle, their dad, said, I've got a new 41 Mercury sedan. I want to take you guys back down to Camp Claiborne. I want to see the camp before you guys leave for overseas. So when 7 days came up, the post office came over and said, Jake, I got a telegram from your commanding officer. I said, you weren't able to locate me. It was Joe Slazak. I says, you weren't able to locate me to give me the telegram. Where are you, Joe? No, never saw you. So he walked off. So when my Uncle John took us back down to Claiborne, it was icy all the way. It was a terrible ride. But when Captain Erickson saw me, he ripped the corporal stripes off of me, and he says, man, he says, I ought to court-martial you. From now on, you're going to be climbing poles and stringing wire. I said, thank you, sir. But I'd like to know why you'd court-martial me. He says, for forging my name. I said, no, you signed every one of those things personally. And if I put them all together and take them before the board, they'll see that you actually signed all those things yourself. Well, anyway, he says, you're going to be climbing poles and stringing wire. And all right, sir, thank you. Two days later, we moved to Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's an embarkation point. And we had to wait for a ship to come in. And so Cousin Ole and Cousin Chick and I made a little trip to New York City. And looking around, when we came in there, we came by the port, and there the French luxury liner Normandy was laying at 3/4 on its side, and fire trucks shooting water into the thing and everything. The Normandy, incidentally, was the fastest ship in the world at that time, and it was being fitted for troop movements. But they think somebody sabotaged it. Anyway, we were up in the Statue of Liberty, looking out of their headband there. Went up to Radio City Music Hall. The all girl orchestra there. Times Square, everything. It was just a fantastic deal. And then, by golly, a ship came in. The what was the name?
Aquitania.
Ta-
Aquitania.
Aquitania came in. And that used to be a luxury ship, but it was fitted for troops. Now I got on there. Look, I'm a private at this time. No more corporal. And
What happened once you arrived over in Ireland?
oh, well, that this will be coming right to that. We'll get we got to get on the ship first. And as quick as you got on the ship, announcement came over. It said, "Anybody want to volunteer to work in the galley?" Well, I was the only one. I liked working with food and pots and pans and things. So I went down and worked for the galley, and there, that luckiest man in the world. I had steaks where others were eating fish, steamed fish. Man, oh man, I'm not into that. So I always had good food and showers and everything. God, it was great because I volunteered. Then we ran into some submarines on the way over, and our I think we're 50 ships in the convoy, and about 15 submarines got in amongst the convoy, and they were chasing one of the submarines right alongside of us. It was down deep in the water and dropping depth charges. When they came by Aquitania and they dropped these depth charges, that ship moved over a foot every time those depth charges would go off. That was a kind of an indoctrination to what's going to happen in the 3 years that I was overseas. So instead of landing in Londonderry, North Ireland, we landed in Glasgow, Scotland, because Londonderry was loaded with ships that needed repairs. So we went on small ships over to Londonderry, and then it went down to Armagh, North Ireland, Armaugh, and there's an Armagh, like New York. There's an Armagh, and we went there, and I'm thinking, by golly, it's about time for me to climb poles and string wire. Instead, an order came out that I was transferred, me and two, a sergeant and a corporal were transferred and went to Ballymena, North Ireland. And we transferred Americans that had joined the Canadians and the British before we got into the war. And my job was to sell them GI insurance. Well, after 30 days or so, that kind of dried up, and we went back to our units. And I'm thinking, well, about time for me to be climbing poles and stringing wire. And the next thing I knew, the three of us were transferred into G3 of 5th Corps. Man, I didn't even think of it. I came from an infantry company. You can't get any lower. And I'm getting up to some place that the Army is next. There's 2 corps in an army. Wow. So I got transferred into that, and they put me to the test to make sure I could do that work. By golly, in a month I was back to corporal. A month. And then I got in charge of the TOs, the tables of organization, and Colonel Hill, full bird colonel. When we went over to England then and started working on the invasion, the 34th Division went down to North Africa. My cousins went down there. I would have been on that ship down in North Africa. But I stayed up there and worked on the invasion. I got the Bronze Star for my work on the invasion. There's not many people that go overseas like that and work on the invasion. And I was a classified top secret bigot. That's the highest rating you can possibly get in secrecy. So
Do you want to talk about on D-Day, one of your near-death experiences with Maddie?
Well, of course. But this is weird because on D-Day, it started at 6:30 there. Man, those little landing craft infantry were going up there, and we then had to load up a landing craft for myself, and I was the first one in, so I sat at the back, and the 29 others sat in seats to the forward. So we were supposed to land at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 came and left, and we just made circles. And it isn't like making circles under no combat, because you could not count. It was like the 4th of July. Big ships were shelling over us, and they were shelling out toward the ships, and we're underneath them. And then when we got closer, then we got small arms fire, like these MG-42 machine guns that could shoot 1,200 rounds a minute. A minute. Our machine guns could shoot 600 rounds a minute. When you double that, it's astounding. It's like a rip saw. Hard to describe. So I finally got up to a berm. The Air Corps was supposed to bomb the beach right there on Omaha Beach. The craters that they put in that beach were supposed to be our saviors. They missed the beach entirely. There was not one single crater there. So when I got out of the water, there was a kind of a sandstone berm there. And I had two MG-42 machine guns shooting at me, one from the left, left and above, and one from the right above. But that berm, that little sandstone berm, protected me from the things. And while I'm waiting for them to stop shooting there, I got out a cigarette. Everybody smoked in the service. They gave you cigarettes. So I put a cigarette in my mouth. I had a waterproof thing ahead, but my matches were wet. So I looked behind me, and not 2 feet behind me, there was a soldier laying there. So just glanced and said, "Hey, buddy, have you got a match?" And I got no answer. So I looked again, and this time, man, I looked. There was no head under the helmet. To this day, I credit the soul of that soldier for getting me up at that time. Those machine guns just seemed like they stopped, maybe to reload. I don't know what, but they stopped. And I got up and ran. And then the machine gun started to open up again. But man, I weighed 120 pounds soaking wet. 120 pounds, 5'10". I just said to myself, they can't shoot toothpicks. So I made it up to the cliffs, and I got memory loss for a long time because we hadn't slept since the 4th, and this was in the middle of the day on the 6th. So anyway, the next thing I remember, Corporal Madison Rich and I were digging our foxhole. We already had the command post set up, and we were digging our foxholes. It was around 7 o'clock at night, and I found a litter. A litter has got those poles shoved in the canvas, and that's what you haul the wounded on. Well, I dug my foxhole a little bit longer, and I laid that down into the foxhole so I wouldn't be sleeping on that wet sand. And it was 7:15 in the evening, June 6th, 1944. And somebody hollered from the command post, "Sergeant Larson, Colonel Hill wants to see you right now." So I said, "Maddie, I gotta go in." So went in, reported to Colonel Hill. He says, "Sergeant, First Army just told us that he wanted G3 to stay open 24 hours a day. We usually stop at 7:30, see?" He says, "You're going to run the night shift from 7:30 at night to 7:30 in the morning, starting right now." So I went back and told Matty Rich. I said, "Matty, you could sleep in my foxhole tonight. I got that litter in there. Jake, he said, I got my fort sack all fixed up here now." So he laid his M1 Grand rifle on my litter. I went to work, and he went to sleep. At midnight, German reconnaissance plane came over and dropped these little parachute handkerchief size flares and lit up that thing like broad daylight and took some pictures there while our anti-aircraft then started shooting up at them. I don't remember anything more until, by golly, here come some guys and they're relieving me. It's morning. So I goes back to where Madison Rich was getting up. He picked up his rifle off of my litter and it broke in two. That 8-pound M1 Grand Rifle. That there is a God, and I'm the luckiest man in the world. That's the name of my book, and this verifies it.
You know, the other lucky story I think you should tell is of how you met Grandma.
Oh wow! Well, we have to go back to that picture of me sitting in that Jeep.
Oh, I got it up there.
I'm just a corporal there. That's when I first got into G3 in North Ireland. I made friends with Major Joseph Ridgway, the medical major. I don't even remember meeting the guy, but somehow we got together, and I had an Argus C2 35 millimeter camera, cowhide case, rangefinder. It was beautiful. It's part of my National Guard experience. Every 3 months, I got $12. So I put I think that camera cost over $30, and it took me a long time to pay that off. But I had that over there in North Ireland. So on a Sunday, I was walking around. I took couple pictures of some swans, and then Major Ridgway drove up in that Jeep. That was Major Ridgway's Jeep, and he says, "Jake," he says, "who are those girls that you took pictures in with my movie camera?" Man, a couple months ago, what are you talking about? Well, he had an 8 millimeter movie camera, and if I went on furlough, he says, you take that camera along and take some pictures for me. So I went to Edinburgh, Scotland, and while I was there was a convention of young women. And man, you don't get a chance like this every day. So I took some pictures of them. Well, I just gave the camera back to Major Ridgway when I got back. I never even told him what I had in there. But he took that film and sent it to his wife and had her develop it. Now she wants to know who those girls were in that picture. I said, well, I really don't know. It was just a convention there. So I took pictures of them. Well, I said, just don't send any raw film back to the States. You can get that developed here, and it's easy to clip out those things. So while I'm telling him that, I handed him my camera, my Argus C2, and I sat in his Jeep. The only Jeep I sat in during the war. And he took that picture of me right there. That's me sitting in this Jeep. I developed that myself. And I said, my God, that is a wonderful Jeep. Now, you people looking at that, you sharpen that picture up for me. It is fantastic. It's far better than the. I think I look better than I'm supposed to. But you did a unbelievable job on that picture. And so I sent that picture of me and then the swans to my mother, who wrote every week. So she showed it to my dad. So he took it into Owatonna to the Photo News, and they were excited about it and put a little blurb in the paper with those two pictures in there. A girl going to high school in Owatonna saw that picture. Yeah, she saw that picture, and she had met my brother, and she cut that picture out of me in the Jeep and put it in her wallet. And her girlfriend says, "Who is that guy?" She says, "That's the guy I'm going to marry." Now that was in 1942. I got out of the service in 1945. I was one of the first 12 discharged from the service before the war was over. April 13th, the day after President Roosevelt died. He died April 12th. I got out of the service. Then my dad, the buildings were falling down. Everybody was in the service. Only had one brother at home, Leo, and the hog house needed repairs and stuff. So I said to my mother, I could do that if I had any help. She says, "There's new neighbors moved into the Coulter place. That's 2 farms away from us. And this boy is a good worker." By golly, he came over, so he agreed to work with it. His name was Harley Cassom. So we put in a lot of cement and had a feeding floor there for things. And by golly, every Sunday I would drive the farm truck into Hope 2 miles to pick up the mail from the grocery store. The post office was right in the grocery store. We had a mailbox there, Box 12, Hope, Minnesota. That was our mailing address. So when I drove by the Hope garage there was Harley's 34 Ford sitting with the hood up on the side. Oh, I said, "Harley's got some problems. After I get the mail, I'll stop by there and see what's wrong," because he was not familiar with wrenches. He was a great fencer and cement maker and everything, but I was kind of mechanic. So when I got done picking up the mail, there he came carrying a fan belt. "Oh, yep." He says, we just came over to get the mail and the fan belt broke." I says, "Do you need any help putting it on?" "Oh, God, yeah, Jake, yeah, appreciate that." So I got a 12-inch crescent wrench and a tire iron, went over there. Those old flathead V8s, very easy to change the fan belt on. 30 seconds, that was over. So I started back to the truck to throw my tools in. And he says, you want to meet my sister?" So I looks around, there's nobody there. I said, yeah. I thought, well, he lives only 2 2 farms away. He's going home and get his sister and bring over and introduce me. So I continued to the truck, threw the tools in, and shut the door. And he says, "Well, come on then." He had the passenger door open. So I walked over there, and out came his sister. She had just washed her hair when he says, "You want to ride into Hope to get the mail?" She put an old dish towel around her head, no makeup. She was hiding under the dash, and she was embarrassed like nobody's business. Anyway, we got out, and she was getting ready to go back to Minneapolis. She worked up there, but I did get a date with her the following Sunday. We went to the Blooming Prairie Rodeo, and then it was like every weekend until I started going to Dunwoody in September. And we every night, she was up there. I said, I'm not getting my homework done. We're going to have to get married. So I gave her rings, and on November 23rd, we got married. Now we have to fast forward here. I got out of Dunwoody in 1947, and in 1948, I got a service station, and man, it just about broke me because the highway that served that service station was closed. They were repaving it. So I went home for lunch. And my wife was pregnant then with my first child. And so I was washing up, and in the bathroom, she had her wallet laid out. She was getting a new wallet, and she had all the stuff she had in it. And there was that picture of me sitting in the Jeep. So I went out. "Where did you get this picture?" She says, "I was a sophomore in high school when this picture came out. I had met your brother Bob, so I cut it out and put it in my wallet." I said, You cut it out and put it in your wallet? You didn't even know me?" No, that's what my girlfriend said. She says, "Who is that guy?" She says, "I told my girlfriend, that's the guy I'm going to marry. So help me God, this is it."
I wouldn't be here without that picture.
No, that picture.
Awesome. Yeah, that's my favorite story.
It's so true. How could anyone make up something like that there? It's impossible. You talk about a lucky old man, the luckiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
And you guys sharpening up all my pictures. God, thank you. You're the greatest.
Amazing. Yeah, if you guys want to follow Papa Jake, we started in 2020, obviously, with the pandemic. What happened was I got laid off of my job and was sent home. So I saw it as a blessing. So I got to spend more time with Papa than normally when I'm away working. So it was coming up for the 76th anniversary of D-Day, and there was all the events were canceled that Papa was supposed to go to. So I ended up making a TikTok on my page, just sending, like, asking people to send some love to him for the anniversary. And it ended up going viral. And everyone started asking, where's Papa Jake's TikTok? We want to hear his stories. We want to follow him. So then we made him a TikTok, and it's blown up since then.
You're going crazy.
It's gone crazy.
Viral.
We did not expect this a year ago, for it to grow into something like this, but because of his followers and making these videos, it's kept him busy during the quarantine, and it's been really nice to actually get to bond with each other and hear these stories and then share them with everyone around the world, because these stories are going to be gone in the future. Like, we have to share them as much as we can for all the people that are gone now in their honor. So
Yes, there is a reason I'm here, and that's to honor all those who gave their life for our country. I wouldn't be here if they hadn't paved the way for me. And I wouldn't be here talking to you now if it weren't for TikTok. It is strange how these things work. It's and I wouldn't have sharp pictures. I wouldn't have gone viral with that picture of smiling at me if you people hadn't stepped in. Luckiest man in the world. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thank you again.
So lovely, so lovely. And it just brings home to us why we do what we do at My Heritage. As you said, Papa Jake, about colorizing and enhancing family photos and making them, animating them, and showing people, a little different glimpse into their past and just how special and how important it is for people. And we loved hearing that, and all your stories. They've just been so touching. So thank you so much for sharing them with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Glad anybody that wants to call me, talk to me, I'm always available. Always.
Amazing. We just had so many lovely comments here in the comment section about how wonderful the stories have been. Lindsay says, always love to listen to his stories. Jeanette said, wow, chills listening to him. I love your ability to remember and to share. Barbara said, wonderful to hear his story. Thanks, My Heritage. Anna said, we are the lucky ones that you are here telling your stories.
I love that. She's a sweetheart. I'm a hugger. I love hugging as a thanks. It seems like you get a feel for the way people feel.
Amazing.
I don't know how else to say it, but I've got thousands of people that I have hugged, and I went back for the 75th anniversary of D-Day. I got a sore hand from shaking hands and hugging. The most wonderful people in the world. They didn't have much to choose from. I was the only one left. But and then I went back for the 75th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge. God, you talk about lucky. How could you? It's hard to describe. There they are. They're like the French. They have little bands around their wrist. We remember. See, of course, I remember too the Battle of the Bulge. It's but those people weren't even born at that time. Think of it, 75 years ago
Well, it's now
at that
almost
time,
77.
and they were, but their parents taught them, and what a wonderful thing for me to be able to do that.
Incredible.
I'm tearing up a little bit.
It's all good.
We are too. We are too here. Papa Jake, can you as some words for us about preserving legacy and the importance, because
yes, I'll tell you, you are the blessing of my life. You people, you don't know what you started with that picture of my wife smiling at me. God, how do you express something like that? You are like heaven come to life for me. Never would I ever get to think. I lost my wife over 30 years ago. Over 30 years ago. Last November 23rd, we would have been married 75 years. So, and just before she died, the year she died, 1990, we had our house paid off in Pleasant Hill. We owned a home. I'm 67 years old. She's 65. And I was to the flea market on a Sunday. Here my youngest son comes up there and he says, Dad, he says, Mother wants to talk to you. I said, where is she? Down in my car. So I goes down there. Now that is the God's truth. The first word out of her mouth, I knew that whatever she asked me, I was going to assent, say yes. The first word out of her mouth was, Father, I found my dream home. What's a dream home? She says, my two sons and us can live together. I want you to come and see it now. It changed my life. I got to live with my two sons.
And with me.
And she was born there. Think about it. I had a house paid off over 30 years payment. I've got another one paid off. 2 houses. How many people have run that? Crazy. But can you understand why this? It seems like things just keep happening to me.
And it was perfect timing as well, because we were still in the process of making his book, and we had a lot of old pictures that were either had cracks in it or didn't look too sharp, and we're like, oh, I'm not sure if we can use that for the book, and printing that in the book.
God, you made new ones.
And then using your guys' software, we were able to actually take those pictures and make them usable and make them better than they ever were. It's amazing to add color to things and to be able to enhance them that much. So we're very proud that we were able to have those in our book.
Amazing. And will you just tell us a word or two about the book?
Yes.
Oh.
So we got, actually, I'll show a slide.
Yeah, please do. Here, let me bring it in.
It is almost there. It's just being reviewed on Amazon right now, but it's going to be available for paperback, so a physical copy, or if you like virtual, you can have it on your phone or tablet. And so we have both options available. And
Sure.
so he's very proud. We got our first proof of the book. So it's got a little line saying it's not for sale, but to actually physically see it, he's so tickled and so happy to be able to share his stories and pass them on for many years, not just for our family, but for anyone else that wants to hear his life stories.
Amazing. I can't wait to read it. And I hope that some of the stories that you shared tonight are in there as well.
Absolutely. They're all in there, and it just, every story, it's amazing reading it. Like, I was lucky enough to do the process with him of making the book, and just to put it all together and see how many miracles and just little things that have lined up in his life to lead him to something else. Like, it's just like 1 in a million chances. So he couldn't take any better of a title than luckiest man in the world. So
How come no one else has ever taken that
title.
title?
You were so lucky that title wasn't taken.
Absolutely.
Oh, incredible. We've just loved speaking to you today. Thank you so much. Now we'd like to give away a MyHeritage Complete Plan to one lucky winner in the audience. So just to remind you all, the photo tools that Papa Jake and Michaela were talking about, with a MyHeritage Complete Plan, you'll have unlimited access to those photo tools, as well as unlimited access to 14 billion historical records and unlimited family trees, so that you can go and research your family history as well. So we're so thrilled to be able to give this away to one lucky winner. And that winner today is Barbara Shirey. And Barbara wrote to us and she said, "So wonderful to hear his story. Thank you, MyHeritage." So congratulations, Barbara, and we'll be in touch with you through private message to claim your prize. Michaela and Papa Jake, thank you so much for sharing your stories with us and making us feel like we were there with you. It's just been so special. I think a lot of our viewers here today said this was their favorite Facebook Live that we've done. It's just been so lovely, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. So thank you again so much.
God bless.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.